I always set out to connect the people from the city to the people in the country. I always set out to bridge the divide and do something positive. I didn't expect that I would create such profound connections along my winding outback road. I didn't realise it would change my life. I didn't imagine that capturing the heart and soul of our rural industries would be so valuable and exactly what people need. If there's anything my winding road to success has taught me, it's that the biggest barrier to success is our own minds. And no matter where we live, what we look like or what we do, our stories connect us. They endorse us. They inspire. And they put us on the map. My story begins on the east coast of New Zealand's North Island, in a region known for its bountiful agriculture. And yes, it's sheep. It crosses the ditch and winds through catastrophic events, endless challenges and many magic moments in the Aussie outback, most captured forever in my books. And to date, ends up right here, speaking to you. But don't be fooled. My story is not about a series of slapdash, hit-or-miss events. My story is about an anything's possible mindset. My story is about being a survivor. My story is about being a disruptor. And my story is most certainly about stopping at nothing to make the impossible possible. Too often, we live by the constraints of our own mind. I'm here to tell you, get out of your own way, people. My name is Mabin, Entrepreneur of the Year, brain injury survivor, photographer, and award-winning best-selling author of The Drover, The Driver, The Grower series, and most recently, The Winding Road. Oh, and I'm a woman. Don't laugh. It might be obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people assume Mabin, Australia's #1 rural lifestyle photographer and Entrepreneur of the Year, is a bloke. I have never felt that being a woman in a male-dominated industry was ever a barrier to my success, though. Like most people born on the land, I have dirt in my veins. Like most rural folk, I'm not afraid of hard yakka. Like most outback shearers, I have a level of resilience like no other. And like most people who live on the land, defying the elements at every turn, I've been known to drop the odd F-bomb, but don't hold that against me. As I mentioned, I grew up on the east coast of New Zealand's North Island. I rode horses every day, mustered livestock, milked cows, drove tractors, and fell in love with my rural upbringing. I was obsessed with horses and dreamed of becoming a jockey, until a run-in with 600 kgs of horse almost killed me. This was a monumental, life-altering experience that still affects the way I live my life every day. Some people who die and have been revived talk about feelings of calmness and peace, but I've got nothing. I was revived multiple times that day. I spent weeks in a coma and months in rehab learning the basics of life again, to walk and talk. Slowly, my brain learnt to bypass broken connections, and I learnt that determination, resilience, and bloody resolve will get you anywhere. Mine took me all over the world. First to Australia, mustering with my dogs in the Riverina, then to a lucrative corporate career with a world-leading organisation. Despite my years of international superachiever corporate success, I was drawn back to the land and to the immensity of the Aussie outback. It took my breath away. I didn't miss New Zealand, and I still don't. Is that bad? I loved watching the sun drop off the face of the earth at the end of the day. And one day, during one of my fear-facing times, I brought a camera and started photographing it. The next day, I was riding behind 18,000 head of cattle, walking 2,000 kilometres from central Queensland to southern New South Wales, photographing what would become known as the epic Brinkworth Cattle Drive, the biggest cattle drive in the world. Today, The Drover, my first ever book, has sold over 70,000 copies, earned me some unexpected accolades like Asia Pacific Female Entrepreneur of the Year, and has proven that fear is where the fun starts. Fear is a funny thing, you know. Usually it's associated with weakness, but I think fear represents opportunity. Who would have ever thought that it would lead to addressing a room full of elite agriculturalists at the Grand Slam Australian Open? After the success of my first book, being in the right place at the right time led me to the subject of my next book, The Driver. On an ordinary Tuesday afternoon, I was hit by a truck and an important story waiting to be told. 18 months and 130,000 kilometres later, I was singing the praises of our transport industry's vital function during my opening speech at my second book launch. Today, The Driver is stocked in over 600 stores across Australia, New Zealand and the US of A, and only one of them is a bookstore. You heard right, by the way. I said being hit by a truck was a case of being in the right place at the right time. Think about it. Some see the donut, others see the hole. Narrow mindsets are often our number one hurdle. Fear of rejection is the other. I'll tell you now, the trick is to see rejection as unimportant. Get used to it. Expect it. If you believe in what you're doing, keep doing it. Keep leading the way in whatever field you are in. Don't ever let no stop you. There have been more books. The Grower Series, a project commissioned by Landmark, the largest distributor of farming supplies in Australia. This world-first 2-book tome features 551 farms and stations, produced in just 365 days, and is 1,000 pages of passionate stories celebrating the spirit of our land, the calibre of its livestock, produce, and its people. This acclaimed series has been praised for reconnecting people to the reality of where their food comes from and honouring the limitless potential of Aussies living and working in the bush. With the backing of one of the country's most influential farmers, last year I was able to donate 2,000 sets of the Grower Series to Australian schools. Turns out, this was the largest private donation to the Australian education sector to date. And my most recent book, The Winding Road. This photo-free eye-opener considers the bigger picture and unashamedly delves into the whys and what-fors of my entrepreneurial success and the hows and how-tos of uncovering your limitless potential and making your mark. 5 books in 6 years, my own self-built distribution network, media coverage of my spectacular footage showcasing our great land like nothing ever captured before, global endorsements, countless presentations, and more than 100,000 books sold, all by a self-published woman from the bush. They tell me this is quite the feat. According to the Royal Lifesaving Society of Australia, 276 people drowned in Australia in 2019. But this figure does not include shark and crocodile attacks or self-publishing authors. If I'd listened to the limiting beliefs of naysayers and so-called experts who told me teaching myself photography and creating a self-publishing empire was impossible, I would have missed this opportunity of showing that it can be done. But these achievements don't define me. Purpose is the most valuable and powerful thing. It's what gets me up in the morning and keeps me awake at night. Anyone who's accomplished anything great was driven by a strong, deeply held belief of what's wrong with the world and how it can be made right. I've realised what you do has to be about a cause bigger than yourself. My storytelling connects people. My books make the overlooked feel valued. My devotion to paying tribute to the incredible people who provide for our country elevates their purpose. Now I use my own stories and the power of storytelling to help others harness their purpose too. I show others how to make lasting change. I challenge tired mindsets. I teach individuals, workforces, teams and organisations how to smash the mould and achieve the impossible. And I must be doing something right. Not long back, I addressed our country's most influential leaders at Parliament House. Presenting to the Australian Prime Minister in a room full of our nation's heavyweights and heads of government is an unforgettable high point of my speaking career. Make no mistake, our stories are our masterpiece. And storytelling is a timeless language and a powerful tool, no matter your industry, no matter your goal, no matter your why. My customised presentations will rouse the tenacious, unrelenting spirit of the Aussie bush in your audience. I promise they will be energised, moved, inspired, and stirred to action. Book a free 30-minute phone call with me to discuss how my entrepreneurial success and real-life stories will help you and your team stop at nothing to make the impossible possible.